Fabulous. All right. Good. Okay. Well, I am Todd Richardson. Those of you who are online right now probably haven't met me before, or possibly not anyone else for that matter. So, welcome. Oh, good. Here's Michelle. And so welcome. Maybe what we can do is, I mean, those of you who are in Dr. Wildermuth's class certainly all know each other, but those of you who aren't, maybe just go around just quick introductions, just say name and where you are in your program, or if you are in the program, right? Anyway, I am Todd Richardson, and I'm Associate Professor of English, teach American Literature, and also the chair of the graduate program.
I'm Mark Wildermuth, Professor of English here. I teach literature and film. This is my course on horror and fantasy, and I'm going to be talking tonight about what it means to be a professional here at UTPB. There you go.
I'm Michelle Yarbrough, and I'm in my second year of the program, and that's all you need to know, right?
Yeah. Or just doing real quick introductions.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Tessa. This is my second year in the program, too.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Yeah, you can.
Oh.
You want to look in the camera. You're on TV.
Hi, this is my first semester.
Everybody's enthusiasm is certainly infectious.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Daniela, and this is my last year in the program.
Your enthusiasm is palpable.
Oh, I'm Kelsey Worthy. This is my first semester in the program, so.
I'm Harlan Watley, and I'm first year in the online program, but I reside locally.
Oh, hey, okay. That exchange is on email. Okay, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were far, far away. I didn't know you were in
It
town.
used to be.
Oh, good. Good. Welcome. Good.
I'm Sean Watson. I teach online graduate courses, and I'll be talking to you today about the online course I'm offering next semester and some of the online courses that we may offer in the future.
I'm Shemaine Hernandez, and this is my first semester in the graduate course.
Would you like to have a seat? We were just doing quick introductions.
Oh, okay. She didn't get that.
Whatever you want.
I'm Christy Graham. I'm an online student that I reside locally as well.
Okay. Yep. And then, did you introduce yourself, Avery?
No, I haven't. I'm Avery, and I'm ready to graduate. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry.
Okay. Well, lots of enthusiasm around folks who are getting ready to graduate. Let's see if we can drum up some enthusiasm for while folks are still here and getting ready to graduate. Yeah, and hello, Brant. Brant just walked in. Let me just make a couple comments here, and then I'll turn things over to Professor Wildermuth and Professor Watson, who will be sharing on things that you can do to ensure your success, ensure your help to enrich your program while you're here at UTPB. Just some general facts and processes that you can look forward to working through. The main purpose of the meeting is to again, to help make you aware of resources at your disposal here at UTPB. Our program here, it's a small program, but it is very effective. We have lots of folks who finish up at our program, go on and get into PhD programs, and finish PhD programs and go on and get jobs with their PhDs. Folks, while even they're still here in the master's program, publish in national journals, participate in national conferences. So again, it's a small program, but a very, very effective program. All the faculty that teach in the program are active in their fields of study, publishing journal articles and books and going to conferences. and the like. A lot of folks that we prepare also with MAs, they go on and they teach in high schools, quite often teaching dual enrollment classes, so even at the high school level, having an opportunity to teach college level courses. So again, we've prepared many, many students for those kinds of careers, and other kinds of careers too. Some folks have gone into communication one way or the other, you know, serving in a development office or communications offices at this or that college or university. Okay, let me just say a few things about, everyone obviously has a bachelor's degree. So let me just say a couple things about what makes a bachelor's or a master's degree different from a bachelor's degree. The kinds of things that you can expect while working towards a master's degree. That, and I'm painting in just very broad strokes, your individual faculty can work with you more on this, but when you're working on a BA, the primary purpose is to master concepts that are already given, facts and methodologies and things like that are already established. When you get into the MA level, there's more and more of an expectation to be contributing to knowledge as well, not just being the recipient of knowledge and eventually master of some of that knowledge, but being a contributor to that knowledge as well. In other words, producing original research, original analyses of various kinds, the kind of thing that would enable you then to get into a conference or publish, that kind of thing. So that means then, of course, that the expectations for seminar papers is going to be a little higher. That faculty tend to be looking for, and I can speak for myself and possibly for Dr. Watson and Dr. Wildermuth, they can certainly join in, of course, but for speaking for myself, when I review papers, I encourage people to write papers that are going to be at least a rough draft for a conference presentation. And that's the standard by which I am I'm grading the papers. So, and that's not the standard that I'll set at an undergraduate level. So be thinking of that. And again, your faculty members will show you. And this is, again, what makes our program, I think, so good, that all our faculty are so engaged in scholarship. They can teach you. They can show you how to publish. They can show you how to produce conference papers. And so, if you want to learn about publishing and science fiction or whatever, Dr. Wildermuth, you couldn't look for a better mentor. Can we get a shot of Dr. Wildermuth? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're good. Yeah. All right. Okay. So basically, that papers. You want to think about your paper demonstrating clearly that you spent real time combing through primary and secondary sources, and it should be clear how your scholarship is making a new contribution to the field. How you're participating. That doesn't mean you have to upset every single reading that's ever been done on Hamlet, right? That Shakespeare, right? That feudal minstrel Shakespeare, right? I couldn't resist. Sorry.
No rhapsodic art prose.
Right, yeah. So, but you're not upsetting every reading that's been done on Hamlet, but you're joining the conversation. You're joining a conversation, a scholarly conversation that's already in progress. Just a note or two about seminars. In undergraduate classes, although I think all our undergraduates classes here, they tend to be discussion oriented. But in the seminar, I think there's more emphasis, even more emphasis on the seminars being conversational, that you don't have a professor up lecturing or teaching. The professor is going to be interested in what you're bringing to the seminar table and what you're helping to bring to the intellectual interchange that is the seminar or the online seminar. So what that means is to be adequately prepared. And of course, the classes are a lot smaller too, so it's a lot harder to hide. So the expectation is that you come to class really prepared to contribute. to have original insights. It's a good idea to just, as you're doing your reading during the week preparing for the seminar, to make notes, mark up your books, make notes in your notebook, things that you want to talk about when it's time for seminar to kick off. That's the expectation put in a positive, kind of a positive spin. To put a negative spin on it, what you don't want to do, first of all, cut classes in undergrad and, whatever, what's the big deal? Not at a graduate level. You don't want to blow off classes at the graduate level. So not only do you want to come prepared, you just want to come. You want to make sure that coming to class that's just etched into your schedule. Professional behavior inside and outside of the classroom. Maybe in a sophomore level class, if you're texting in class or something like that, we might kind of expect it. It's still not okay, but at the graduate level, professionalism is expected in graduate seminars, inside and outside of the classrooms. If you are a graduate teaching assistant, and actually this year we only have one, so I don't mean to be putting Shelby on the spot. So yes, professional behavior, of course, not to single Shelby out. Professional behavior is expected at all times. Professionalism as a TA, a GTA. And your professor is your supervisor when you're serving as a graduate teaching assistant. Another thing that I would want to point out here, just as a way of offering suggestions here, and that is that all of us, all of the faculty here, we are really invested in your success. We want to see you do well. So we're on your side automatically. We want to see you do well. So help us help you, right? Sorry, I just realized I was quoting Jerry Maguire, wasn't I? I'm looking at the movie guy here, right? Help me help, right. Anyway. So the way you can help us help you is to do good work and be visible about it, so that when it's time for us to write recommendation letters to get into the PhD program, to get that teaching job, whatever it might be, we have a lot of good things we can brag on you about. That's a bit of Texan that I've picked up on since I lived here. Brag on, right? We didn't say that in Delaware. So we can brag on you. We want to be able to brag on you. So help us brag on you, right? So, just show off your good work and do the best you can to make a good impression with regard to your faculty. So again, we can write a good, beefy, full-lunged letter of praise for you when the time comes. So in other words, getting a grade for the seminar is just the beginning. Really, what's going to help you the most is when we really go to bat for you and write a good letter for you. So you want to be working for that. Okay, let me just go over just a couple nuts and bolts things here before I turn things over to Dr. Wildermuth and Dr. Watson. And that is the last semester, right? So if you're in your first year, the graduate director, and right now that is me, does serve as your advisor. So any questions about advising of any kind, come to me. I'm more than happy to help. So if you're getting to be towards the end of your, got hiccups here. If you're getting to the end of your first year, it's time to start thinking about your who your advisor is going to be for your capstone project. That capstone project is either going to be a master's thesis, it's going to be a project, it's going to be a scholarly article, or it's going to be extra coursework with an oral defense. And then you can get the rundown on that in more detail if you don't already know about that. You can come see me or call me or whatever, email me, and I can give you the rundown in more detail. But the person that's going to serve as your guide or your mentor or your chair of that capstone project will then also be serving as your academic advisor. And you want to choose who that person will be really by the end of your first year. Certainly no later than the beginning of your second year. And then that person will lead you through the process, help you to determine if you want to write a thesis or a project or whatever, and help you get all your paperwork together and everything the way an advisor would, so that you can graduate. So yes, so consider yourself nagged if you're in your second year or the end of your first year or wherever you are and you don't have a committee chair chosen yet. Consider yourself nagged. You want to get that taken care of. Okay, really, yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to say for now. Let me turn things over to Dr. Watson. I know had to run for an appointment.
It's all right. Time is no longer of the essence.
So, do you want to come
Sure.
on up so folks can see you and feel free to tell us what you want to tell us. May I sit in this chair?
Actually, Clark's back.
Oh, this is.
Oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, man.
Oh,
Oh,
actually, maybe I'll just.
it's good.
Well, Michelle.
Oh, she'll be back.
Well, I apologize that I do not have any of my graduate courses to show you because I haven't yet converted them to Canvas. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Canvas system. I find it very easy to use. You've had experience with it. I like Canvas much better than Blackboard, but I am a little remiss. So I'm going to be showing you a class, material from a class that I know Christy's had. We'll recognize some of this stuff. My point is, I don't think we can fight against online education, particularly for a small program like this. You're going to have to bite the bullet even if you don't like online courses. And I hope that one of the things that UTPB has learned to do is to make online courses more interactive, more challenging, and more entertaining. Because if you're not entertained, what the heck? You're going to nod off at the computer and say, I'd rather go read it. Oh, okay, all right. Let me say one thing about the melodrama course first. It is the course that will be offered online in the spring. And you may find this wonderful. Everything is embedded. Everything that you will need is embedded in the course itself. So if you have all of the research material, I'm going to have Xanadu put some plays in. This is new. I've got kind of like 20 or 30 melodramas that nobody's ever read and nobody ever heard of. And by the way, if you haven't read 10 Nights in a Bar Room, you haven't lived. I laugh about these plays, but in fact, they're so important. Melodrama is. Okay. Look standard? It is standard. And I think Canvas really makes things very, very easy to follow. Now, if you were going to do this course, you have a lecture, you have an overview, and then you have your assignments and discussion about the assignments. But one of the things that's interesting about this course and about any drama course is that it includes lots of visual imagery and lots of music. I don't know how many of you are terribly interested in music, but I think that you can't really appreciate theater until you're seeing the stage, until you're hearing what's going on. So, for instance, we have lectures on each of the individual plays, but then we have video presentations. And some of these video presentations are simply images. This one is Images Gilded Age, and you'll have pictures of how rich people lived. And this maybe will help you when you think about a play like Under the Gaslight. Yeah? Sidewalks of New York, all right. Now, I hope that kind of puts you in the mood for reading these plays and take a look at them. This is some of the rich people's visual idea. I know some of you have read this play, right? Yeah. off too well, did they? So the folks who are living in these kinds of buildings, this fall is followed by interior images so that you get an idea what the set might look like. You don't have to look at this if you did a web course, but I will tell you that it really helps when you're reading plays, because it gives you an idea of tone, of style. Yeah? Okay. Now, the wonderful thing about modules, these modules, is that there's also all kinds of ways to editorialize. I want you to close your eyes for a minute, please. I know Dr. Wildermuth and Dr. Richardson will recognize this music. I want to see if any of you do. Say, look, where am I? Can you see this one now? It's a little bighorn, guys. One of the reasons we show this is because the first play we read in American drama is a play called Metamora, which deals with the Indian question. And in many ways, this play, written a year before the next play that we study in the course, it's an answer to the Indian question, not the one that Mr. Custer wanted. This is the kind of stuff that you can find in a web course. If you'll take the time to do it, it will give you the kind of context that we all want for our literary studies. Yeah? I mean, it really helps to know that in some cases you are talking about, oh gosh, middle-class people having trouble in their marriages, and yet George Custer was out there doing what he did, a little big one. Let me go to something that is a little more appropriate for the time here. I'll leave you with that. There's nothing like, I think, a song or two in music to set the period. So, for instance, in this course, we study August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Everybody know August Wilson? Yeah? Oh, America's premier African-American playwright, wrote a play about the African-American experience in every decade of the 20th century. And thank you, James Earl Jones. Started fences, broke out in fences. So, you know, we look at all of that kind of stuff. One of the things I want you to look at is, anybody ever heard of a play called Margaret Fleming? A Anybody ever heard of a play called Mackinac? Oh, it was a great play. Expressionism in American drama. Sophie Treadwell. Anybody ever heard of Sophie Treadwell? You were smiling. Do you remember Sophie?
I don't know, Mackinac.
You love Mackinac. And finally, here's a play called Waiting for Lefty. Anybody ever heard of a play called Waiting for Lefty? What do you think it would be about? Well, let's take a look. One of the things that happens in a web course is that you can embed all kinds of material for secondary reading. So I have a timeline for the early 20th century. I have a biography of Clifford O'Gets, who's the author of this play. I have material about Howard Flanagan, who's one of my personal heroes. She is the woman who runs the Federal Theater Project. And if you haven't seen The Cradle Will Rock, a movie called The Cradle Will Rock, see it before you finish the semester. It's an absolutely fabulous movie. Got every good actor in it, and it will tell you so much about American theater. I also have Rebels history, so I can embed material there so you know something about Clifford O'Gets. And I'm sure you'll recognize the song. Recognize the tune? Solidarity forever. Solidarity. No, it's got a video. There we go. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Through the workers' blood to run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is greater than the people's strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairie, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless mile the railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving, amid the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. We have taken on oblivion that they never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their body power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold. This is a talk about a strike, a union organizer who's supposed to come to a community and lead a strike. He never shows up. So everybody goes nuts. They strike and walk out of the theater through the audience, thrusting the theater doors open and walking into the streets yelling, strike, strike, strike. This is wonderful Depression stuff. Lots of versions of this song. But guys, if you go to any Labor Day picnics over the holiday, you will hear this song sung. One more that you will probably recognize. I hope you will recognize it. Enjoyment the grand industrial tax. From history and hunger retreat, then come to your share like a man. There is power
power in the band of 40 men when they stand hand in hand.
And of course, this is sung by
Power, that's
Joe
the power that was
Hill,
through
who may be familiar to you.
Industrial Union man. You have mansions of gold in the sky and live in the shack away in the flat. Would you have wings up in heaven's sky and starve here with rags on your back? There is power in the band of 40 men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that was ruled in every land for an industrial union grand.
I think that once you've seen this video play, resonates differently for you.
That comes you share like a man. There is power in the band of 40 men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that was ruled in every land one industrial union grand. If you like brothers to feed off your head, then don't organize or you decide. If you are nothing before you are dead, shake hands with your boss and the wine. There is power in the band of
More images for you to take with you to Labor Day.
That's the power that was ruled in
That's not exactly what you think of when you think of Bonnie and Clyde, right?
Oh, how would from every land come flowing in the grand industrial band.
Can you imagine?
Share of the church shout the man, come on, do you share like a man? There is power in the band of 40 men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that was ruled in every land one industrial union grand. One industrial union grand.
So who is this Joe Hill guy? Who cares about Joe Hill? One of the cool things about drama is that nothing that you know is useless. Who is this? It's Paul Robeson, Eugenio Needles, fabulous actor who did The Emperor Jones. For those of you who are interested in African-American literature, African-American life, think about how early some of this stuff happened.
In Salt Lake City, standing by my bed.
Again, if you're interested in this period, interested in Joe Hill, union organizing, you should see the film called Maitland, which is astonishing. I think I've made the point, have I not? If you look at this stuff, who's that? Joan Baez. And she sang this, by the way, with Occupy Wall Street. If you're not taking advantage of the audio and the video that are embedded in these courses, you're not having the time that you need. The other virtue of this is that anything that you contribute to a class and say, you know, Dr. Watson, I found this fabulous thing, this ought to be in the class, I'll be happy to put it in. What courses are work in progress. So please, 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 bite the bullet if you must, but web courses can be a great experience. One of the things I do in mine is if you turn your homework in on Tuesday, you can revise it on Wednesday, you can revise it on Thursday, and you can revise it on Friday. So it's like being in class, only with a teacher who's paying attention just to you. I think that's a big deal for college education. Okay. Anyway, I hope to see some of you in Melbourne.
All right, I'm going to say a few things about working here at UCB. Thanks so much, Sean.
Sure.
Do you have the proper English? Okay.
Oh, come on.
I think you're gonna need to buy your tripod or something.
Yeah.
You okay?
You all right? All right. We don't hire too many DTAs or research assistants here anymore. We're forced to share those monies with other people. The old days we used to hire 8 at a time, if you remember. Now we're lucky we have 2. But the responsibilities are quite real, and I do want to emphasize the importance of realizing that, first of all, it is an honor to get that kind of position. It means that people had enough respect for you as you were coming in to think that you could do this, and that you could do it well. But in addition to that, it's also a contract. And contracts always imply certain obligations on your part that you must live up to. And you don't want to forget that either, right? The first thing you want to do when you're hired is you want to get in contact with that professor that you're working with, find out exactly what is expected of you. Actually, sometimes write out the duties for my PTAs and RAs so they'll know what to do. And typically that will mean showing up to the class. It will mean if you're attached as a GTA, it means during certain kinds of research and so forth. And you're wanting to fulfill those obligations as best as you can, because that will guarantee that your contract will be renewed in the following semester. People have sometimes been surprised when they weren't renewed. I've had that experience on occasion where I said, provide me with a bibliography on slave narratives by X date, and they didn't do it, and they were surprised when I said, I don't think we need to rehire this individual, right? You do have those kinds of obligations, and you want to make sure that you do live up to them. And the same thing goes for things like observing office hours. You're expected to do that. You're expected to be available if you're a DTA. Had an individual work for me one time who was skipping their office hours every day so they could go to their course in Chinese early, which is a noble aspiration, but doesn't make it very easy for your students to get in contact with you. So you do want to check that you know what's expected of you, and fulfill those obligations. On the other hand, it's a two-way street. You have rights too. If you contracted to work for one professor for one course, and they suddenly have you doing work in 3 courses, that is a violation of your contract. And you should talk to them and tell them you're confused about this, you don't understand why it's happening, and if they don't offer to rectify that situation, go to someone like Rebecca Backup or come to me. And we will see that it gets rectified, because that is not legal to ask somebody to do more than they're contracted to do. Same thing goes with research responsibilities and anything else you're asked to do here. You have rights as well. And be sure to stand up for those rights. Don't be afraid to be that squeaky wheel that gets oiled. All of us have to do that. Part of being a professional is knowing when to draw the line and knowing when not to be exploited. You have an obligation to yourself as well as to the university. You want to make sure that those obligations are honored in both sides. So, we can provide you with more information about this if you like. Don't hesitate to contact me or Rebecca Babcock. But do make sure that you understand what your obligations are, how you fulfill them, and what the obligations in the university are to you as well. Okay. Any questions about any of that?
One of the things that you probably already know from having undergraduates is that if you have issues with a class or a professor, there are ways to pursue those issues. And the first thing, of course, is to talk to the person who is your professor or your boss or whatever and say, look, I don't know. And if you can't resolve it, then you go to the next step and the next step and the next step. Please don't, I do a lot of these for visual performing arts, so I know how awful it can be. Stand up for yourselves. If you believe what you've done is appropriate or correct, do it, because the professor or instructor probably believes the same thing, and we need to have a meeting of the minds. You all are equals in many ways, and you need to behave like it, just as Dr. Henry said.
Anything else? All right, if you want to.
Okay, Dr. Wildermuth has generously, oh, that's what I look like on TV. Okay, that's good. Yeah, all right. Dr. Wildermuth has generously given over time from class for us to be able to have this gathering, so I just want to wrap things up quickly so Dr. Wildermuth can get back to his classwork here. So let me just make a couple quick comments in closing. One is, yes, if you are having issues as questions or anything having to do with TA appointments or anything associated with your time here, and certainly you can approach me as graduate director. Anything along those lines I can help you with that Dr. Wildermuth indicated. Okay, just a couple things I wanted to point out. Dr. Babcock could not be here. She's our department chair, as many of you may know. And okay, Sean, I think you closed all my screens.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Okay. Well, some of them I already emailed out to people. And those that I have not, I can just say quickly how you can access some things. Rebecca, Dr. Babcock, she wanted you to be aware of, again, she just underscored some things I already said about professionalism, professional development. One of those is if you're looking for conferences to present at, if you look under the CFP Call for Paper site put out by University of Pennsylvania. So all you have to do is Google Call for Papers, University of Pennsylvania, and it'll come right up. That's basically the one-stop shopping for abstract or calls for papers, anything having to do with English literature. So that would be a very good site to know about. She also wanted to recommend that folks join the MLA if you haven't already. These are the kinds of things that can help you become more acquainted with the profession. So if you haven't done that, I'd suggest it. It only costs, if you're a student, it only costs $20. $20, which is a steal when you get to be filthy rich professors like we are. Yeah, hear the irony in my voice there, right? I think membership for us, I think my membership's like $110 or something. So anyway, so when you're a student, it's only $20. So it's a deal. So you might as well go ahead and join. You get lots of nice journals like this. I gave out copies already. Folks who came in a little late maybe didn't get them, but I'll just leave them here. So I would recommend that, as does Dr. Babcock. Jasmine Tembunga, who's the director of the Success Center, she also could not come. I invited her to come and speak for a minute. So let me just state real quickly what some of the resources are down there at the Success Center. Folks who are online, you may make use of the Success Center here at UTPB. They have virtual Skype sessions. And I emailed that information over to you about how to make use of that. So I really suggest that you make use of that. Also, it looks like here that she put in a little plug here. It looks like she's looking to hire some folks. $12 an hour, right? So anyway, so if you're looking for a little extra work, contact Jasmine at the Success Center, and maybe you can get a job out of the deal too. So that's really it. Just wanting to wrap things up here again, so I can turn things over to Dr. Wildermuth. But before I do, any questions? I don't know if the folks online, I guess they're probably not keyed in, right? They can't.
They've been liking things along the way.
Okay. Oh, okay. Really? All right. Can they text questions or anything like that? Oh, they can? Oh, all right. Oh, gosh, I wish I'd known that. If anyone at home there wants to text a question, if not, then just feel free to email me, and I'm happy to help. But for folks who are here, anything that I can help with about, where you are in your study and advising or anything of the kind?
Todd, is there any group that gets together and listens to papers that are being presented? I know you do that often in art for one another. And it can often help, particularly if you've never given a paper before, you get feedback from your colleagues.
There have been writing groups that have been put together here in the past that were doing that kind of thing. I would suggest emailing, if anyone had an interest in that, emailing Dr. Babcock and seeing if there is in fact one that's up and running. Is there one?
Tess and I are starting on it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. There
Yeah,
we
so
go.
we're meeting during the day right now, but,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Well, maybe what you all could do is send a message out to Engelgrad.
Okay, Ingle.
Yeah, the Engelgrad list, but I think the three of you are subscribed to. So just go ahead and send it to Engelgrad and get the word out there about other folks who can participate if they want. Anything else right now? Okay, all right, well that's it. Thank you, especially thank you for Dr. Williams for allowing us.
What movie are you showing?
We're not showing anything tonight, we're talking tonight.
Well, what movie are you talking about?
We're discussing the return of Dracula.
Oh, cool. Oh.